and we'll start the Q&A. Okay, and I see that Steve has his thumb up. Tom, are you raising your hand or are you waving? No, we can't. You got to unmute yourself. Go ahead and unmute if you do want to talk. I think Tom is an iPad or something.
Russ has raised his hand.
Russ, where are you, Russ?
Down
Go
at
ahead,
the
Russ.
bottom.
What do you think about as far as using for credit cards for authorization, your watch, like with your iPhone?
Oh, I recently read that it's much more secure to use the wallet entity, your Apple Pay and things like that, because your credit card number does not appear anyplace. You just go zap like that and it happens. And when you shop online, you're filling out, well, okay, you go to Amazon.com. They've got your credit card information right there. And when you use Apple Pay or wallet or anything like that, nobody actually sees your credit card information. So I have decided that I am going to start doing that.
Even go to like for medical, Kaiser. It's all on my watch now or on my iPhone. It scanned all the information. They don't have to ask you for it or anything, and it's all encrypted on there.
Excellent. Excellent. Good idea. Every one of your, Computer Society members should pay attention to what you're saying. And then you should give a little mini presentation on how you accomplish that. And they can do the same thing, whether it's a watch, an iPad, an Android, or whatever. And I was really surprised. It is more secure.
Okay, Russ, you're on. You're going to be doing the next presentation.
Well, he could just do it's just a mini presentation.
No, I'm just giving Russ a bad time.
No, he already raised his hand and said he did it. I saw him.
I know. We'll do a mini presentation, Russ. All right, I don't see any hands raised. Any other question? Bob, yeah, go ahead, Bob.
What about on your Chrome operating system? Google saves passwords and fills in when you log on here and there. Talk about that for a moment.
Absolutely not. I customize everything. I have customized my Windows operating system. I have customized all 3 of the browsers that I use. I go in and immediately turn that off. I get sick and tired of them popping up and saying, would you like us to remember that password? My answer is never. I love your cat, a password manager, and you don't want to leave them in the browsers. That's just my opinion. I don't think they're safe.
Right. Well, there's no encryption in the browser. Somebody gets in there and knows your computer password, they can easily open up the list. So.
Yep.
Marcella, did you still want to be recording? Because it shows that it's recording.
Yeah. We'll record this. Will be part 2 of the recording.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, though.
Judy?
Yes.
This is Ron Kosciuszko. I have a question, 2 questions actually. One is the NoMo Robo on the hardwired phone. How is that possible to do that?
You mean an actual old-fashioned AT&T phone line that's plugged into the wall?
Yeah, the one that works when all the other phones go out.
Yeah. You'd have to look at their website. Back in the day, it wasn't something you could do. I have Spectrum VoIP. It works beautifully with that. It is free. When I first got it, I kept track, because I have, Time Warner or Spectrum, and my calls all get on the list, and I counted all of them. And then NoMo Robo kicked in, and I've been using it. Time Warner was the first ISP that let their people use it for free. And the first day that it was dropped, they had let their people use it because they get money for all these calls, and they said we'd rather have happy customers than disgruntled ones. And over time, and it wasn't long, my list dropped down like crazy. Because the new thing is that I will get calls from 661 area code. You know, I don't know these people. And Nomo Romo says, you don't know these people. And it rings a couple of times and boom, they're gone. So
Ron, the one requirement for No More Robo is that you have simul ring. So if you can set up your whatever phone you have to ring two numbers simultaneously, which most of the voice over IP lines and cell phones have available, then you can use it. What it's doing is it's ringing your phone and it's also ringing the No More Robo phone. They then detect the caller ID of that phone. If it's already been marked as spam, you'll only hear your line ring once and then it goes away. If they're not sure, it might ring 2 or 3 times before that, you know, it's tagged. And then you have an option to go into their website and say, okay, that call that I received from that weird number, you can mark that as a spam call and then it gets removed. So, and it works really well. I highly recommend it.
and I did not set up anything. I downloaded Nomo Robo and went off and running.
But that was on for your mobile device, right?
No, that's for my VoIP.
Oh, really? Even for that? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's what I've had forever.
Okay, because I have Vonage and it works beautifully with that.
And that's VoIP too.
Yeah. So, but you have to still go in and you have to set up the simul ring
Nope.
on there. Some vendors may have it automatically set. Mine wasn't, and I've been using it for about 5 years now.
Okay. Yeah. No. All I did was download it, and it started wonderfully.
Okay.
Second question.
Yes.
Judy, I'm sorry, I came in a little late. Did you talk about VPNs?
Yes, virtual private networks. I've talked about my daughter having to use one to get into the UCLA Health
I know,
computers.
but do you have any recommendations?
Oh,
for
I use
VPNs?
private internet access. I have used it for about 5 years. PIA. They are located in the Midwest. Don't think you can get a good one with a free one. It's something that I feel you need to pay for. Jim Evans, who was a director for APCUG, no longer with us, he put me onto that. And you know how you have people that you trust, and then you have other people that say, oh, you know, this is the greatest thing. And you go, I am never going to use that. Jim was somebody you could trust. He knew his technology. And if PIA was for him, it was for Judy.
Thank you.
Also, on that note, keep in mind that there's really 2 types of VPNs, right? One VPN is what you would use to connect to a private network, like if you have a business and you're traveling and you need to connect securely to that business. That is a VPN that's, you know, pretty much between your device and that business. The other VPN, which is really what I think most people are more familiar with, is so that when you are using your computer, all the data that you are sending out is encrypted, going to that VPN service, whoever that may be, that you use the one that you pay for because that's usually more secure. And then that goes out into the internet. So your personal IP is not exposed to vendors and websites.
Yeah. You are, all your information is encrypted, and you know, you can't be seen. Apparently with some of them, your ISP can't see where you're going and what you're doing, and which is the point. You know, we go someplace and all of a sudden we're getting 13 ads from wherever we were. Well, this is not visible to anybody, and we go from here to there and we're fine. The one thing that you need to be very careful about is choosing where you are in the world. I got mine and I was in Germany and I thought that was way cool. I was getting websites in German. Well, you know, Google translated it for me. And then I need to get in touch with one of my credit card companies, and I wanted to do something. And she said, I'm sorry, you're in Germany. And I went, no, I'm not. I'm in Santa Clarita, you know, right where no. And she would not give me the time of day. Lesson learned. Then I was using Canada, Victoria. I was Googling Bed Bath & Beyond. I had the information from the one on the 14 side of the valley. I needed to get in touch with the 5 side of the valley store. And I got the information on every Bed Bath & Beyond from Victoria to the other end of Canada. So I am now in San Jose. You know, I mean, I'm in California, and you can pick where you choose where you want to be. But I mean, I learned my lesson the hard way. I thought it was just so fun being in Germany until that lady would not give me the time of day. And I really wanted to do something that evening too. Word to the wise, learn from my mistakes.
Thank you, Judy.
Any other questions?
Yes, please.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Judy.
Hi there.
Question for you about mail. And obviously I know with credit cards and the part that's been filled out, I always shred all of that.
Good.
But my sister and I are in the process of dealing with my mom's estate, and she doesn't think that we need to be careful about what we're throwing in the recycle bin. And I say otherwise, and I'm probably being too cautious, and she's not being cautious enough. And I just need some guidance as far as what level of junk or other mail needs to be shredded and what doesn't.
You don't put anything in the trash can that has your information on it, period.
How much information? Not even your name, not even
Your name, your address, your phone number if it's there. I mean, literally, when I get something, I rip off all that information, and I have a little basket right where I do that.
Right.
And I throw it in there, and then I throw the rest of it. I have more recycling than I have trash.
Right.
Because I don't shred, and I don't need to take the whole piece of paper up to Staples and pay. So nothing goes out of this house in the trash that has any identifying information about you. A couple of my club members said, hey, they went to, it was either Staples or Office Depot, Max, whatever. And there is a stamp that you can get that is black, that you can just stamp it over your address information and everything. With that, you could put it in the trash. But like I said, with my meds, I use my thick black magic marker, and I get rid of everything. So please do not put
with things like medication, stuff like that, and any medical records and all of that. I just didn't know
everything.
If I was being overly cautious, and I'm so glad to find out I'm right. Wait, like on my sister.
You are so correct. You are the good daughter.
Well, the reason this came up is that my niece's husband works for one of those agencies that has letters, and says your information's already out there. But I thought, well, it's not out there for everybody. So I'm kind of subscribed to somebody sitting around in their bathrobe with nothing better to do, looking to get into trouble. And while some of the information may be out there, I don't need to help them along, is kind of my feeling about it. And so I understand that what she's saying, but I think I'm going to invest in one of the stamp things. Do you know what it's called?
No, I don't. I just go up and ask, you know, do you have a stamp that I can go boom and it'll go, you know, over my address and everything. But don't forget, they're also wearing fuzzy slippers with those bathrobes. That's a whole statement. They're bathrobes and fuzzy slippers.
Karen, the one I have is actually a little roller that puts in funny little characters on top of the text, and you can get them on Amazon. I'm sure they have them at Office Depot too, but
depends on where you shop.
It's privacy. I think it's called a privacy stamp.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. You can't.
Hans, you have your hand up, and then
about the No More Robo service.
Oh.
Does it identify calls by their database, what is a spam call, or does it have access to my contact list? And if it cannot find the number in my contact list, then it considered it spam?
I don't think it looks, at least on the landlines or the voice over IP lines, I don't think it looks at your contacts. It's only looking at the numbers and comparing it to a database of numbers that it's known to be, they're known to be bad.
And how about on a mobile?
You know, haven't used the mobile one, and I don't know if it tries to use your numbers in the contact list. So I don't know. Anybody else know that?
Well, I have a Google Pixel, and Google will block numbers for me. If I get a call that I don't think, I just block it and I never see it again.
Right. That's built into the Android operating system, right?
Yep.
But if you do that, and they use a fake number, they use a local number, but they're really calling from somewhere else, does it block the actual number or the fake number?
You don't know. You don't know if it's real or fake. You just say, I don't know who this is, or I don't recognize that number. Goodbye, and block it.
Yeah, Babette, you had your hand, and then Russ has his hand up.
I was interested in the comment about not using your mother's maiden name. And for some years, we've been skipping a generation and using our grandmother's maiden name, which is not around very much.
I would make up, I just wish that we had all known this, years ago when we didn't have to worry about stuff like this. But I'd use anything other than anybody's maiden name that I know. It's because it's not necessary. The problem is you need to remember which it is that you use. But if you have a password manager program, you put all that information in the notes section on what you have used, so you have it there. But
well, you need to know it on the telephone too if you call your bank.
Yeah.
They use that as an identifier. They check your identity before they start talking to you.
Yeah.
I need to add something to this. Sorry for just interrupting, but I was helping my mom and we needed to talk to her bank account, and they asked for her mother's maiden name, and my mom told her and spelled it, and she said, that's wrong. And I said, that isn't wrong. That is her mother's maiden name. And we discovered later on that when she told them the first time, the customer service person didn't spell it back to her. So they had the wrong spelling in her record, which we rectified, but it was alarming because it's like, that is the right name.
Right. And if you had used Brown, who cares?
Right.
Russ, go ahead.
Have I got my hand raised? I thought I had it down.
Oh, did you lower it? Okay, you had it raised. I thought that. Okay, Steve, you have a thumbs up then.
Okay, Steve has something in the chat box that's extremely important. I recommend that everybody click on the 3 dots in the chat box and save it. You need to all go to Have I Been Pwned, PWNED.com, and check out every single one of your email address to see if it has been compromised.
And your passwords.
And it's just your email addresses is all they're worried about right there. And it is legitimate. It is put together by former Microsoft programmer when in 2013 Adobe got hacked to like 23,000 credentials were stolen, and we look back then we go 23,000, we're up to 219 million with Facebook. And he felt this was something that really needed to be. He has operated it for years on his own dime. He does take donations if you'd like to, but he is now hooked up with the FBI. And it'll be interesting to see if the people in my FBI scams working group ever mention it. But everybody needs to do that, and everybody needs to put in every single email address just to check. And if you're lucky, none of them have ever been hacked. And you will look at them. It's like my kids a few years ago, the oldest kids, 4th of July party. They use something called Evite. Well, when I did this for my Facebook security presentation, by golly, Evite had been hacked. Even though I've been involved in sites that have been hacked, I've never had a problem. And they're having a 4th of July party. And I said, hey, Todd, don't use Evite. Oh, I haven't used that in years. And I said, well, thank you very much. My email address was exposed because you guys used that. But it's interesting to check and see, you know, how you are in the world. And some people say, I have never had anything compromised at all. And you applaud and tell them, good job.
I should add also that the reason to check is because there are databases that you can, in the underworld, I understand, where you can aggregate all these passwords that have been hacked. And you basically, I guess the bottom line is that if you have been hacked, you should probably stop using that password or that email address.
Mm-hmm. Have you, okay, Chris in the chat box says he has one, he or she has had one that spawned. Have you ever been compromised because of it? I've got a laundry list of them, and I have never had, ever had a problem. So nobody's ever done anything with whatever lists I have been on that have been absconded with.
One of the things that you'll see when you go to there, they will list the hacks that expose your password and your email address, and they'll describe what the hack was. For example, if it was a website where your password was exposed, but your email was exposed, but your password was encrypted with a good encryption method, then you don't have to worry so much as if it was in clear text or with a poor encryption method.
Right. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, I'm not exactly clear what you're supposed to do if your email has been pawned, because I just looked to one of mine and it has.
Okay, well, if you have never had a problem, nothing was ever done with it. That's like mine. I mean, I have like 3 slides worth in my PowerPoint presentations of places where I have been hacked. And I look every once in a while. So all of these, a lot of these are new. And I mean, Bitly, I use Bitly URL shorteners. That was compromised last October. But I personally have never had any problems. I don't get, you know, nobody's done anything with my email address.
How would you know if they did?
I could be getting, you know, people could be using it to open other accounts, do various and sundry things like that. And everything that I have is something that I have done.
Okay.
The other thing is that if you use your password elsewhere, then you're exposed to all those websites where you use that same password. So
Yeah, no, actually, I don't use the same password on more than one website.
Good job.
That's a good job. Yeah, but if you use it, say, at your bank or brokerage account, you better change your password there.
Yeah. Your password manager programs will all send you an email if you have an account that has been compromised. I can remember years ago, Dashlane got in touch with Jim Evans and said, Yahoo has been compromised. You need to change your password. He immediately changed his password, which is cool because a lot of these companies get hacked. They don't tell us. You know, the government's trying to change that. And I appreciate that because, you know, of course, they don't want everybody and their brother to know that they have been hacked. But the people who, you know, shop there or whatever, we like to know. So we then can change our, you know, password.
Or the tip off is that you'll try to log in and they'll say, we've changed our systems and we're resetting your password. Go choose a new one once you log in for the first time. It could well mean that they were hacked.
Okay. Great.
All right, any other questions?
The answer to the, does one have to have administrator capabilities to up to the latest version of Zoom? The answer is no. You just go to zoom.us/download, and the download button, the very first one you see, is for computers. If you have Android or iDevices, you go down to the bottom and it takes you to the appropriate store and you update it from there. Back in the day, if you had an old version and you attended a Zoom meeting, Zoom popped up and said, oh, by the way, here's the newest version. Bear in mind, if you get a new version and you use virtual backgrounds, they will be gone. And all you need to do is click on the plus on the right-hand side and they will come right back to you.
And 10 data breaches found no page.
Okay.
Thank you, Judy, for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
I always have my computer teacher hat on. I'm sorry.
All right, one little announcement is Karen will be doing the July Internet and More SIG, and we're going to be joining, or some of the people from the College of Marin are going to be joining that. Karen, do you want to say anything about that and let everybody here know to make sure they join your next meeting?
I don't actually have my subject information planned out yet. I have some ideas, but I wanted to just give you guys a heads up because I have a guest speaker who will be coming in a couple of months, just before open enrollment starts with Medicare. He's actually an insurance guy that all he does all day is work with people about Social Security and Medicare, and has been helping me because I'm in the process of, I have to figure out my new prescription coverage. And so he doesn't have any investment because he's in Texas. He's my sister's hair cutter, actually, but he's also an insurance agent. But he's been willing to, but he said that he will do a presentation to my SIG. And I'm actually thinking we might even consider doing something in the general meeting in a different area of the same subject, because open enrollment starts October. And so there may be other people that have some questions about this as well.
And don't forget, October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's great to have a security presentation. Bob G. Gosticha he puts a new one together every year. They are fun presentations. You think you know all about security, and I always say, and along comes Bob G, and you go, shoot, didn't know that. Thank you very much. But they're also fun. And if you're interested in that, I book his presentations for him, for he and Avast, supporting my Southwest conference in San Diego for years.
So will he do a smaller group like my Internet and More group?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay. I think that's the plan for October.
Judy?
Hans, I see you have your hand up. Is that, you have a question?
Yeah. Judy, you kind of recommend use a password manager, but you also said that most of them have been hacked themselves, and you would think they are kind of a preferred target from hackers because that's where all the information is.
But remember, your information is encrypted, and if you have the world's best master password, they can't get to your stuff.
Okay.
It's on you. If you have, like I said, PA $ word 123, you're toast wherever you are.
Judy.
Yes.
I went on Have We Been Pawned, and I used an old email account, and it said it's been pawned and there are 10 breaches. But what else do I do there?
Change your password.
Well, I don't have that account anymore. I mean,
oh, well, then you don't, then fine. And my other thing in my living presentation about death, to help your digital executor, if you have accounts that you aren't using, close them. Be a good mom or dad or whoever, is going to do that for you. and close them down. I used Yahoo. I wouldn't be caught dead using a Yahoo email account, but I had to have it for screenshots for my students because of AT&T and SBC Global. And I closed that and patted myself on the back and said, what a good mother I am. And I thought, why am I still on LinkedIn? And so I closed that and again, patted myself on the back and said, way cool, Judy. Stacy doesn't have to do this now. But think about getting rid of all of your old stuff that you don't need. And that will help with what I believe his name is Ron just said. And I wouldn't worry about it. If you don't have it anymore, you know?
Yeah, if you're not using the account anymore, Ron, then it's like a moot point. But if you have a way of, well, probably don't even know what the password is for anymore, or going in there to the service and canceling it. I wouldn't worry about it.
I
Yeah,
canceled it a long time ago.
Okay, as long as you canceled it, but you need to go in and there is, Google it, ask the question. Go to a company called everplans.com. They have a gazillion free links where you can find out how to close the Yahoo account, your Facebook account, your Google account. And it's difficult for your executors. They have to do certified letters, return receipt requested, if they don't have your credentials. Like I said, you don't want somebody walking in the door and throwing up their arms in the air and say, okay, now what do I do? I've got all this stuff. I don't know where anything is, let alone every single year I get a announcement from Facebook that my son's best friend's mother's birthday. Well, it brings up the fact that my son will be gone 10 years in July, and his friend's mother has been gone for 8, but Facebook reminds me every July, every January. The same thing with LinkedIn when I had an account. John Iasulo used to have a talk radio show in Vegas. He came down to Southwest, broadcasts from there. Every July, I get something from LinkedIn that said, wish John a happy work anniversary. He died the month after my son did. I mean, it's ridiculous that these accounts don't get closed. You don't want that to happen to you and drive your friends and relatives crazy.
I will just say that I'm very grateful that my stepdad trusted me because I have all of his credentials. I have everything that I would ever need to close any account that he has, and I'm in the process of doing it. But I'm very grateful that I had my nose in his books as far as I did.
Outstanding.
It was only because my mom had dementia and the books started looking weird. So,
way to go.
All right. Any last minute questions? If not, we will call it a night. Thank you very much, Judy. That was an excellent
thanks,
presentation.
Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Virtual class.